I'm Shukla Bose, the founder and CEO of Parikrama Humanity Foundation. I'm really happy to be here and participate in optimizing being your best. My life story is nothing but the ordinary. I was born in a very ordinary Indian middle class household. My mother had 3 miscarriages before I was born, and therefore, when I was born, it didn't matter to her whether I was a boy or a girl. And that against the backdrop where everyone wanted boys. And this welcome and vote of confidence that I got from my parents actually defined the way I lived. I never was scared of boys or anybody else. And I was the only girl in my class, many a times in the football field, and most times in many forums that I participated in. My father was a scrupulously honest government official. He had a lot of power, but we had very little money in the household. There were many government vehicles parked in front of our house, but my parents made my little brother and I walk 6 kilometers to school every day. My best friend, who was my father's secretary's daughter, came in the government vehicle every day, but we had to walk. So very early on, I was introduced to our parents' extraordinary sense of values, sense of honor, and the right from wrong. I was never very exceptional in anything. If you were to meet and talk to any of my classmates from school, they would say that they never sensed any sense of excellence in me, but they always remembered my unstoppable spirit. I never took life just as is. I always wanted more. And I think that has driven me right through. Although my parents couldn't afford it, I went to some of the best schools and colleges in the country. I got scholarships to attend these institutions. And I did my master's and I did my MBA. And it was very unusual those days for a girl to do business studies because my peers thought the success for all women was to get married well. Okay, we live in a dominant culture where it is designed to give up oneself, and girls live with constraints of having their lives defined for them. But I wanted more. I wanted to live by my imagination and not by my history. I also, therefore, sought more. I began volunteering with Mother Teresa when I was a student, and I volunteered with her for 7 years. I was not any important volunteer or anyone very significant, but I was known because I was one of the most regular and consistent volunteers. I volunteered with her in Nirmal Hriday and in Shishu Bhavan. Nirmal Hriday is a program where we would pick up destitutes, beggars from the streets, and bring them to the center and try and give them life, give them medicines, and in most cases, help them to have dignified death. I worked in Nirmal Hriday for more than a year. And every day was packed with great emotions, frustration, and a great amount of helplessness. It was very painful to see patients that I tended to die. So I went to Mother Teresa and told her that I wanted to do something else. I wanted where there was hope, where I could feel that I had an impact. So she transferred me to Shishu Bhavan. And I worked with children who were abandoned, and our role was to find homes for them. I worked here for more than 5 years. And this is where I began to realize that I really loved working with children. I learned from Mother Teresa that it's not important how much you do, but whatever you do, you must do it with great love. But the most important lesson I learned from her, which I call magic C's: clarity, conviction, commitment, communication, courage, and compassion. She would say that if you know what you want to do very clearly and is totally convinced about it, you will get the commitment to do it. And if you communicate that properly and have a great deal of courage to withstand the obstacles that you will face and patch in a little bit of compassion, you will be unstoppable. I also learned from her that when you want to really help someone, religion, caste, creed doesn't matter at all. What matters is humanity. I want to share a small story with you. You see this little mole that I have in my nose? I've had that since my childhood. And it didn't bother me. I was happy to live with it till I became a teenager and I went to college, and someone suggested that I would look better without it. So I went to the doctor and got an appointment to get it cut off. Unfortunately, the doctor gave me a date that clashed with the time I had committed to Mother Teresa. So the next day I went to Mother Teresa and told her that I wouldn't be able to come the next day because I had to go to a doctor. She was worried and she said, "What is wrong with you, my dear?" And I said, "No, nothing. I just want to get this mole cut off." She was shocked. She looked at me and said, "This is a gift from God." And she went to add that, "How much are you spending to get this done? If you have that kind of money, then you write a check for missionaries of charity," which I promptly did. And I still carry that mole. I'll never be able to cut it off. What I learned from her was, prioritize and don't waste time, money, and your energy on the non-essential. My mole is a non-essential item in my face, but something that I treasure today. So I completed my studies and took up a job in the hospitality industry. I slowly rose up the ranks. I always believe that, life is not what you want, but life is what you do. And I worked hard and got recognized, promotions. I didn't have to look at price tags when I bought anything. And that was my epitome of success at that time. I then became a CEO of a very large multinational company looking after many countries. And that too was what defined my definition of success. But because I'd worked with Mother Teresa, I did not have my blinds on. And I began to see the disparity that there was in the world. I began to see how a few of us had the power and the ability to go anywhere, do anything, buy anything, but a majority of us had no such option. They were absolutely trapped in deprivation and despair. It's really sad that 1% of the world's population own more than half the world's wealth. There are 117 billionaires in India that have the collective wealth of more than 300 billion US dollars. And yet in the same country, there are 82 million people who have to struggle to get 3 square meals a day. This inequity, this social injustice began to bother me. And I felt I needed to do something about it. I couldn't just talk about it, but I had to make my own reality. I started Parikrama Humanity Foundation. I don't believe in plan Bs because plan A must work. So when I was asked, what would you do if this fails? I was always confident that I would make it work. I always believe in burning bridges behind me because I have nowhere to go. And if I have nowhere to go, I have to make my present successful. So I started Parikrama Humanity Foundation in the year 2003. The first Parikrama school was in a rooftop with 165 children and 11 staff members. Today, we have 4 schools, a junior college. We are adopting many government schools, and we've also started teacher training center of government teachers. We are working with 2,000 children, and about 1,000 of them have already graduated from Parikrama. What makes me really happy is that out of the 11 staff members that joined me, 10 are still with me. This means that they have been able to find a purpose and enjoy the cause. You know how empowering it is to help people find their purpose in life? The transformation we see in our children is what keeps us going. If there was no parikrama, our children wouldn't have anywhere to go. If they went to a government school, the situation would have been very different. The government statistics is 35% of attendance, and by 61% of children drop out by the time they reach secondary school. Comparatively, parikrama statistics are very different. We have 96% attendance and less than 1% dropout. Why does this happen? It's the model that we have identified. We look at what stops a child from poor neighborhoods coming to school every day. And we try to plug it. So we give 3 meals a day to our children. We take care of their entire health. And we also work closely with their parents. We take care of children from age 5 till they get a job. And we have children who we picked up from the streets a few years ago and are now doctors, engineers, nurses, studying law, design, chefs of 5-star hotels. This transformation has happened because of our approach. And this is something that is easily replicable and can be done by many others as well.
My name is Tasmia. I am studying in Parikrama Humanity Foundation. I am from an Orthodox Muslim family. I am the only girl in my family who is completed 10th standard. My vision of life is to see a society where we care for each other, we respect each other, and also we value each other. And also I want to see a society where we motivate girls to study, we provide them with equal opportunities without doing any discriminations. And I think we can do this, but by sitting in one place we cannot say that we will fight for our rights. It's when we stand up, we put it in our mind that yes, we can do it, we can achieve it. If we stand up for ourselves, and definitely we will do it.
Hi, I'm Kriti Murtappa. I was a student of Parikrama and currently I'm in my final year of Bachelor's of Commerce. I think through the years we've seen how difficult it has been for women to prove themselves and their ability. So what I've realized in time is that I'm going to set my own standards. I'm going to try and work hard to reach my fullest potentials. So only then will I be able to look at the path that I've walked and say I've made my choices, I've taken my decisions, and all of this while keeping in mind my happiness, my interests. So there'll be no regret at the end of the day. So this is what I'll be calling my success.
52% of our population in school are girls. We take care of girls because they need us most. I tell the girls that don't live a life that has been given to you. Choose the life that you want to live. and that will make the difference. So my life has come a full circle. There are many times I have wondered how powerful I am because I have now the freedom and ability to influence lives and change people a bit. And it's my responsibility to do something about it. Many a times I'm asked by people and the media of how do you see yourself 15, 20 years from now? My response is I see myself in a wheelchair attending morning assembly of a parikrama school. But what's special about this school is that it started by a parikrama student. So if parikrama students learn what it has taken me a long time to understand, that true success and power is the freedom and the ability to help others and not status and money. If my parikrama students understand that and start schools to help children that don't go to school, my dreams then will get fulfilled, because then there will be no child in India not going to school. It was a pleasure being here with you. I hope you enjoyed the session. Thank you very much for listening to me.